Do you have listings that are coming off the market? The seller is like, you know what? We don't have to sell. We're not in trouble. Let's just take it off the market. We can't get our price. Nowhere near it. We've already reduced the price, X amount of times. We're still getting no interest, no showings. Nobody's even asking any questions. What's the point? What is the point in even trying anymore? We don't even care if it sells. Take it off the market. All right. This agent down in Florida has a lot of these, evidently. We'll hear from her in just a second. I'll give you my commentary there. She suggests that what's the point of even taking an overpriced listing? It's not going to sell in this market. I disagree. I'm going to talk to you about why I disagree and what you should be doing right now in this market to absolutely crush it. When the market is down like this, you should take that moment to establish new skills, right? If you establish the skills that you need to build when the market is down, you are an incredible asset in the future for any company that you decide, like any direction you go with, anybody you align with, right? If you understand how to take advantage of these type of moments, then just think about it. If you can crush it right now, then you should think to yourself, I can crush it in any market. It doesn't matter what the market does. I got this. I'm going to go crush it. And that's exactly the way you should be thinking about this. It's exactly what you should be doing. What skills do I need to develop to be able to crush it in today's market so that when the market rebounds, I am the top 1% of 1%, because most agents just aren't going to do it. They're just going to sit there and be like, oh, the market, and what's the point in taking overpriced listings? Okay. Go ahead and be that agent, right? I'm going to figure out the new rules to the game, step aside and watch me crush it. There was new data that came out last week that suggested there's more listings right now coming off the market being delisted than there are new listings going on the market, which means the number of homes for sale in America is about to drop. We were 13% away from pre-pandemic inventory levels, which was already low pre-pandemic. We were low anyway. We were 13% away as of last month. And now I believe that number is about to start dropping. Why? Because most of the inventory out there is not real inventory. I would love to see the stat on real inventory, right? And this whole thing just goes to show you that inventory is and will continue to be a problem. Sellers aren't desperate. They don't need to sell. Most of them just don't care. They're like, if I can get this price, then I'll do this. But if you can't get this price, what are you going to do? It's almost like if you can't get that price, what are you going to do? That's a good question, right? What are you going to do if this property doesn't sell? That's a good question. And most of them would say, oh, I'll just keep it. Why? Because I can. I'm sitting on 2%, 3%, 4% rate, or it's paid off. Around 50% of the homes in America are free and clear, no mortgage, right? Out of 50% of the other 50%, 25% of homes out there, they have 50% or more equity in their home. The mortgage rates on these homes, on these mortgages, are incredibly low overall. And the people that bought in the last 3 years didn't buy to sell it in 3 years. Yeah, they're down equity, right? Especially when you figure in closing costs to sell, and if they bought it at the very peak and it's down depending on what market they're in. But they didn't buy it to sell it in 3 years. That's not why they bought the home. Nevertheless, closings are happening every single day and will happen every single day for the rest of your life, regardless of market conditions. I want you to think about this before we listen to this video. Right now is probably the worst market we've ever seen in terms of number of sales, right? Prices have dropped considerably lower than they are now on a percentage basis back in the Great Recession. That's not going to happen. When they came out with the lending regulations, that padded that entire situation and just nipped that right there. But in terms of number of transactions, this is the worst we've ever seen, especially when you figure in the population, right? This is the worst, right? We're at a 30-year low with the highest population we've ever had. And still, If you look in your MLS and actually look at the data, closings happening every single day, right? Don't lay down and stereotype people and just say nothing's happening. No, look in your MLS, look at real data. Don't just say nothing's happening without looking at the data. Look at the data and realize, wow, there are deals happening. There are listings that are closing. There are listings coming on the market that are priced reasonably well that actually sell pretty quickly. Don't just lay down right here. You need to lean into this market, because the stronger you become now, it will multiply your life. This is your moment. All right, let's listen in.
As a real estate agent in Florida, I'm going to tell you what I've been seeing lately. So, we're getting a ton of sellers who want to sell. Great, awesome clients, listings. But no, there's a catch, because majority of these sellers want us to sell their property for a value it's not worth. The numbers don't lie, the comps don't lie. If you want to overprice your property and shoot yourself in the foot, that's one thing. But we're realizing that it's not even worth taking the listing. Who cares? We don't need the listings to show we get listings, because when we get a listing and we market, we're dumping at least $500 per property to get it going, get the photography, get the videography. It costs money to play. So if we're spending all this money, say we have 5 sellers who want to list their house all overpriced, 5 times 500 is $2,500 that more than likely the houses aren't going to sell. Like, let's be honest. The sellers aren't going to accept a low ball offer, is what they call it. But
This is what I want to say real quickly, and we'll go back to the video, is that you can't stereotype prospects and say none of them are going to take lower offers. You don't know that, right? They're not all going to do exactly the same thing. This becomes a really dangerous game when we start stereotyping our prospects and start thinking, well, nobody's doing anything, so what's the point of making calls at all? Or let's just not take listings because none of them are going to take a lower offer. That puts you in a really bad spot right there. But let me just say, here's what you need to go deep on with this entire situation. You need to take this moment to understand how to become what I call a deal prognostic. What is a deal prognostic? A deal prognostic is one who has the ability to understand what the probability of a deal happening actually is, and not only the deal happening, at all, but happening with them as the real estate agent. That takes it even a step further. So understanding what the probability of a deal even happening, like this prospect even following through and going to the closing table, and then B, if in fact there is a probability that's going to happen, that they will actually pick you as a real estate agent. Like, that takes it to the next level. But the point is you have to become really great right now at understanding people's motivations behind why they are selling, and then make a decision around their situation as to how much time you're going to spend on the deal, how, like, if this is even a deal you want to get involved in. Okay. And so the way that you do this is you start with the surface level. Okay, great. What's going on in your life, right? You want to sell? Cool. This is an amazing house. What's going on in your life that's causing you to make the decision to sell this amazing place? That is a surface level question that you're going to ask to understand just the surface level general reason of why. Because again, they don't hire us to sell a property, believe it or not. Selling the property is a byproduct of what we're actually there to do, which is to help solve a problem of theirs. A listing is a written agreement in which a property owner hires you to solve a problem, not sell a property. Selling the property is the byproduct of you helping them solve the problem that they have going on that's causing them to make the decision to sell the home. And so therefore, you have to understand what the problem is, and not only understand it on a general surface level, but the depths of it. And what you want to do as a professional, this is how professionals operate. They ask so many questions that they end up understanding the prospect situation better than they do, because they've asked the prospect questions about their situation that the prospect hasn't even thought about. And see, this is the way that you should be operating, not just now more than ever, but not just now. This is how you should run your business with every seller and buyer, right? A buyer comes through, we want to buy this home, or we're looking for this specific type of home. Okay. What's going on in your life that's causing you to make the decision to buy that property? I got to understand. And then I'm going to go 5 to 10 questions deep and really understand it to the depths of what's happening. And then I'm going to establish, are they blowing smoke? Is this a real situation? And then you'll be able to kind of advise them and consult them through it better. If they're just like, I would sell if kind of thing, and like there's no real like problem that we're solving, and there's nothing there, there's no real motivation, there's no substance behind their decision, then you can advise that client differently. Here's the problem. As agents, we just go out there and treat every single prospect exactly the same. It's like, okay, like we just go gung-ho to sell every property, regardless of what their motivation level is, regardless of why they're selling or any of these things. We just like take a listing and then like do the exact same process with every single listing. That's where we're going wrong. We're just taking listings and doing the same thing, right? Regardless of motivation. No. Every single situation, every single prospect, every single client should have a different game plan that's dependent on the depths of their situation. And unless you are, professional agents, go really deep to understand so that they can decide how they want to handle it, how they want to advise their client to handle it, right? And then you won't have yourself in these situations where you're taking these overpriced listings for no reason. Okay. Because that's the next part of it, is you got to understand the market and be extremely realistic with them based on the market, the downtrending market. The comps don't even matter at this point, because the chances are that the house needs to be priced lower than the comps, right? Okay.
Realistically, it's what the house is worth, but they're not going to accept it. So agents are spinning their wheels, dumping money into these properties to try and sell it, when it's just a waste of time. It really is. And I hate to say it, but it's what's going on right now. So Florida, I don't know what state you guys are in, but I'm in Florida, and it's 100% a buyer's market right now. Sellers do not have the upper hand. You're lucky to get a couple showings right now, especially if you're overpriced. You're probably going to get none.
It's not a waste of time. It's not a waste of time. Understand your client's needs and situation a little better so that you can stick and move through this incredible market. They need you more than ever during this market. They need an agent to step up and say, this is what it is. You might talk to other agents who say, this, that, like, oh, you can get this price or that. They might tell you some things, but I just went really, I understand your situation more than any other agent. Would you agree? Right? This is what here's the reality of the situation. And most agents aren't going to tell you the things that I'm telling you, because I'm real and I'm here for you. I'm not here to do a deal. I'm here to help you do whatever it is you're trying to do. And if I can best consult you on the reality of the situation, you can make better decisions instead of making decisions based on a false reality. Okay, let's go to the comments here. Let's see. If you wait long enough, you'll get close to asking price. Just ask my former neighbors. Their house was on the market for 10 years and ran through dozens of agents. All right. That's a totally different situation. 10 years. I mean, that went through like the 2021 like boom, where like people were getting 100,000, 200,000 over asking price. So, I mean, if you didn't sell it then you must have been like, you must have been like 3 or 4 or 5, 600% overpriced. Let's see. I'm looking to buy and can't even get the realtor assigned to show me anything. Realtor assigned. I don't know what that means, assigned. Maybe I don't know. How did you get assigned to an agent? But anyway, yeah, like 71% of agents didn't sell a single home last year. So, most of them probably are, they're doing other jobs. Find a professional that actually is still in it full time. I guess that's a good tip for home buyers, sellers. Like, if you can't get the agent to call you back, don't not work with a part-time agent. Like, there's some great part-time agents that are going to be superstars. But if you can't get one to call you back, all right, find a different agent. Okay, then Sounds like the agent should be dropping that 6 to 10% commission since the market's on the downfall. Commissions aren't 6 to 10%, dilly. Commissions are normally 5 or 6%, not 6 to 10. And no, dropping the commission, number one, you can't drop the commission, right? Otherwise, commissions would already be down. We're underpaid. Real estate agents are underpaid. That's why commissions haven't went down and will not go down, because after you get the 3%, right? We get 2 to 3%. After you get that 2 to 3%, you pay your broker split, you pay all of your expenses, your licensing, your gas, your all the things that you pay, marketing, etc., right? Broker split, expenses, then you pay taxes on top of that. Like I'm telling you, per deal, you divide it by hours, minimum wage. You can't go down anymore. It's down as low as nobody's going to do it any cheaper. But here's the punchline of this comment is that when the market is down, that's when people need us the most. I guarantee you we'll see the percent, like the commission rate increase during this time. We're going to look back, we're going to look at data, and we're going to see that commissions increased during this time, because that's what happens. When it's easier to sell properties, commission rates tend to drop a little bit. You know, and when we're in a market like we're in now, where it's super hard to sell a home, commission rates come up a little bit. Why? Because there's a lot more work. It takes a lot longer. And the clients need us more than ever to help consult them through the market. A couple more. I thought I can't sell for more than it appraises for. Am I wrong? Yes, you're wrong. You can sell it for more than it appraises for. And an appraisal, if you go out, if you send 3 appraisers out to a house, they're going to give you 3 different numbers. Right? It's completely like arbitrary to who's appraising it. Different buyers will think it's worth different prices. So it depends. Like if you go under contract and then the lender sends the appraiser that's going to appraise it for the loan, okay, then that's a different scenario. But you never know what that's going to be. You could have it appraised before you go on the market, but then the appraisal for once it's under contract could be totally different. So you can't really forecast for that and plan for. You just put what you want, you get what you can, you cross the bridge when you get there. If the buyer's getting a loan and the appraisal comes in low, you can argue the appraisal number, etc. But that's just a bridge that you cross when you get there. But you also have the fact that some, like I forget what the number is right now. I think it's like 40-50% of deals are cash. Something like that. I know down in my market, like 40-50% are cash. And so when it's a cash deal, you don't even get an appraisal most of the time unless the buyer just wants it. The house behind us was asking $65,000 over. What would be realistic? And it's been sitting forever, but we don't mind having an empty house behind us. I hear you. Cool. All right, guys. Cool. I'll link this agent's information in the description. Let me know your thoughts in the comments and what you guys are seeing out there in the market for everybody else in the comments to see, and give us your take, your advice. Like, what are you telling sellers right now to help them through this market? And I'll see you guys on the next video. Until then, keep